Evening, y'all. Proverbs 22. A good name is more desirable than great riches. To be esteemed is to be better than silver or gold. Rich and poor have this in common. The Lord is the maker of them all. The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. Humility is the fear of the Lord. Its wages are riches and honor in life. And the paths of the wicked are snares and pitfalls, but those who would preserve their life stay far from them. Start children off in the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not turn from it. The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is a slave to the lender. Whoever sows injustice reaps calamity, and the rod they wield in fury will be broken. The generous will themselves be blessed, for they share their food with the poor. Drive out the mocker, and out goes strife, quarrels, and insults are ended. One who loves a pure heart and who speaks with grace will have the king for a friend. The eyes of the Lord keep watch over knowledge, but he frustrates the words of the unfaithful. The sluggard says, "There's a lion outside. I'll be killed in the public square." The mouth of an adulterous woman is a deep pit. A man who is under the Lord's wrath falls into it. Folly is bound up in the heart of a child, but the rod of discipline will drive it far away. One who oppresses the poor to increase his wealth, and one who gives gift to the rich, both come to poverty. Pay attention and turn your ear to the sayings of the wise. Apply your heart to what I teach. For it is pleasing when you keep them in your heart and have all of them ready on your lips, so that you may trust in the Lord. I teach you today, even you. Have I not written 30 sayings for you, sayings of counsel and knowledge, teaching you to be honest and to speak the truths, so that you bring back truthful reports to those you serve? Do not exploit the poor because they are poor, and do not crush the needy in court, for the Lord will take up their case and will exact life for life. Do not make friends with a hot-tempered person, and do not associate with one easily angered, for you may learn their ways and get yourself ensnared. Do not be one who shakes hands in pledge or puts up security for debts. If you lack the means to pay, your very bed will be snatched from under you. Do not move an ancient boundary stone set up by your ancestors. Did you see someone skilled in their work? They will serve before kings. They will not serve before officials of low rank. So that's Proverbs 22. A good name is more desirable than riches. To be esteemed is better than silver or gold. How much money you make doesn't matter, right? I'd be almost willing to bet money that nobody could tell you exactly how much money their grandpa had in the bank, right? Even within a couple $100, I bet you wouldn't get it. But you would be able to tell me if your grandpa was a good man or wasn't, right? You can get a whole lot farther with making a good name for yourself by following the Lord, and that being one of the blessings you receive from of it, than just chasing riches, right? Whenever you kick the bucket, your kids ain't going to care how much money's in your bank account if you were a good parent, but they'll know if you were a good mom or dad or not. Rich and poor have this in common. The Lord is the maker of them all, right? Doesn't matter if you're rich, doesn't matter if you're poor. God put you here for a reason, right? And if you feel like you ain't been blessed with tons of stuff, right? Or you might feel like the world would be better off without you, or whatever it is, right? Or that what you're doing doesn't matter. I'd encourage you to go read. There's a parable in Matthew about 3 servants and a master who goes on a trip away. And he gives one servant 10 talents of gold, one 5 talents of gold, and one 1 talent of gold. And put that in perspective, a talent is about a year's worth of wages. So about 10 years worth of wages all at once, 5 years worth of money all at once. And nope, Might have been 5, 3, and 1. Anyways, it was a bigger number, smaller number, and then 1 for the last guy, right? And it said it was by depending on their skill, right? So, Lord made rich, Lord made poor. It takes all kinds for people to get by, right? That being said, it shouldn't really matter if you're rich or poor or not, because a good name is more desirable than great riches, right? But if you feel like you ain't got a lot, that's okay. Steward what you have, and you'll be blessed for it. Start children off. Well, humility is the fear of the Lord. Its wages are riches and eternal life. Right? That's pretty self-explanatory, I feel. You're going to get paid some way, right? So you might not get monetarily rich following Jesus. But you'll get honor in life, right? Start children off in the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not depart from it. And this doesn't mean that you just absolutely beat the Bible into your kids' heads, right? It doesn't mean that they ain't going to make mistakes, right? If anybody's going to be showing them grace and mercy, you better be the parent to your kids. That being said, model it for them, right? Start them off on that path, and leave them a path home, so that when they make mistakes, they end up going to Jesus first, followed by you, instead of the world. Let's see. The sluggard said, "There's a lion outside. I will be killed in the public square." That one didn't make too much sense to me at first glance, and I had to research into it a little bit. And kind of the conclusion after some of that research is somebody who's lazy will come up with the absolute most outlandish excuse not to do something. Back in the day, and where this was written, wild lions were a thing, right? And so somebody who didn't want to go outside would be like, "Hey, there's a lion outside. I don't want to get eaten, so I'm going to stay inside and not do anything," right? And they would use something outlandish but plausible, not probable, as an excuse to be lazy, right? Folly is bound up in the heart of a child, but the rod of discipline will drive it away, right? A lot of people these days keep on trying to want to tell kids, "Hey, whatever's in your heart is the truth," right? And that's what you need to follow, and that's just flat out wrong. Don't follow your heart, be honest with you. Because, man, we've already read this time about how the Lord looks into man's heart, right? There's places in the Bible where it says that the heart is deceitful, right? And something like if a child followed its heart, right? Followed their heart, every Halloween they'd eat the whole bucket of candy, right? And then you'd be having a doctor's visit afterwards, or you'd be having a rough time, tummy aches, and the consequences of eating an entire, 5-pound bucket worth of candy all at once, right? But the rod of discipline will drive it far away. A lot of the times, whenever the Bible talks about a rod of discipline, the imagery that it's kind of referring to is like a shepherd's staff, right? And shepherds didn't use their staff to just beat the ever-living mess out of their sheep or out of their livestock. It was used for a multitude of things. It was used as a beating stick when it needed to be a beating stick, but a lot of the time it was there for support. It was there to help somebody walk long distances and stay on their feet for 18 plus hours a day. Well, the rod of discipline is there for support. Its primary objective is to not beat the ever-living stuffing out of somebody, right? It's there to be a support for them. That's what I think of, at least whenever I think of the rod of discipline, right? Do not make friends with a hot-tempered person, and do not associate with one easily angered. You may learn their ways and get yourself ensnared. I've fallen into this one. During my time in active duty Army, I was around people that get mad at the drop of a hat, right? And I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty bad about picking up on random folks around me. I'm more of a thermostat than a thermometer. At least I used to be, right? Trying to change that. What I mean by that is I could tell you the temperature of a room, but I couldn't change the temperature of a room. Not easily. Not before. Thankfully, the Lord's working on that. I'm trying to do what I can working on it. But that being said, about the whole, it's easy to get ensnared when you're around people who are hot-tempered and easily angered. I tell you that right now, because I still got anger issues some. I've gotten a whole lot better, but for a while there, it'd get a little rough, right? So I'll attest to that one from personal experience. This one says, do not be one who shakes hands and pledge or puts up security for debts. If you lack the means to pay, your very bed will be snatched from under you. I think, kind of going back to what we've talked about before on this one, you don't attach yourself to somebody's debts. You don't make yourself liable. Now, if somebody needs help getting out of debt, right, or needs help with something, and you've prayed on it and you get the green light to be generous with your time and your money, by all means go for it, but you don't attach yourself to their debt, right? And the reason for that is the answer is back in the same chapter 22, but verse 7, the rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is a slave to the lender, right? You can only serve one master at a time. So if you ensnare yourself in a bunch of debt, whether it's monetary, emotionally, mentally, whatever it is, right? You allow somebody to have a hold on you, and it ain't Jesus, and you're a slave to them, then you can't fully serve Jesus, and that's what you're called to do, right? It's a bit of an all or nothing kind of proposition. So I would say that verse 7 is the answer to why you don't be the person in verse 26 and 27. Let's see. Do you see someone skilled in their work? They will serve before kings. They will not serve before officials of low rank. Someone who's skilled is going to go far with you, right? Like genuinely skilled in it. But also, what kind of comes to my mind, at least, right, whenever it says they'll serve before kings, I guess one of the titles Jesus had was King of Kings, right? So if you see somebody who is genuinely skilled in whatever their skill is, right? Maybe they're a brain surgeon. They're going to be the best brain surgeon for Jesus. Maybe they're a janitor. They're going to be the best janitor for Jesus, right? Everything in between. Act like you're going to serve before a king, because whenever you accept Jesus as your Savior, congratulations, you're serving the King, right? And take it a notch down from that, right? Whenever you accept Jesus and you become, part of the Israelite family and following the way, you're called to be a nation of kings and priests, right? I don't think it means kings or priests. It's kings and priests. It's both, right? You need to be a king of your household that can be diplomatic, that can wage warfare, that can pass fair judgment, tempered by grace and mercy, while at the same time being able to do priestly duties of guiding your family in prayer, being able to answer biblical questions and things like that. Now, not all that's going to come all at once. That is a lifetime pursuit. That's something that you won't be striving for till the day they put you in the ground, right? But it doesn't mean that you stop striving for it. But anyways, 22 is a good one. It's got a whole lot of good stuff in there, so I'd encourage you to go read it on your own. Have a good evening.